Hello everybody, Cone Dodger here, and welcome back to the iRacing experimental season. And this week, we are in something that is quite familiar looking to me, maybe not to you. It is a Pontiac Solstice. This is the Grand Touring Championship. It is a mixed field series, so you have this, the Solstice, you have the Mustang FR500S, I believe, and then you have, although it is hardly used, the GTI Cup VW. So this series, being mixed, is interesting in the fact that they are all quite different cars at very different speeds. The Solstice here is about as low in the racing ladder as you can get in iRacing. This is a naturally aspirated Solstice, so it is a base model, but it is based off of a Solstice Cup car, which was a thing for a brief period of time. If you know anything about the history of the Solstice, you'll know that it did not have a very long history at all. So that's kind of why the series didn't last too terribly long. But it is, basically a stock car. Oh, brake. A stock car with a roll cage in it, and some race pads, and some good tires. I really wish iRacing was more upfront about what exact tires are on the cars. What is it that they are modeling? But they are not overly, outward with that information, which is a shame, because I would really like to know what is on this car. Feels kind of like maybe it's either a very, very good street tire or an entry-level race tire. Maybe something like a Hoosier R7, R6. This is actually a pretty old car, so it would be an older generation of that tire. And we are here at the Sebring International Raceway, the full circuit, which is a track that I'm glad we are at, because I need more practice here. I've never been terribly comfortable with Sebring, so more laps is more better. Very full field today. This is the time for this series. This is why this is really not a series that I'm interested in. It's not very popular, and a lot of people kind of just don't take it seriously. I'm here more to explore the Solstice and, draw comparisons to my real-world Solstice than anything. But we do have a decent field, good amount of cars. And one change that they've made recently that I really, really like is that if you don't qualify in these multi-class series, they still put you in order of class. So even if you don't qualify, you still start ahead of all of the slower cars. Very smart, and it took them way too long to make that change.
Catch up, 3, 4.
It's always good when they're wrecking on the pace lap.
Hey, give him some room. Let Kyle get back up on the line.
Get ready.
Alright, well, this is how we're going to start. It's going to be a long race. It's 40 minutes. So, who knows what I might ramble off into this race, but let's get the first few laps under our belts
Green.
and see what happens. I figured people would do that. They would forget that you actually do have to slow down for this turn. I was one of them, but the pole sitter was the worst of them. Alright, we're still in okay shape though. And then turn 1 is a little bit tricky with this car. Okay, everybody's taking it pretty easy. Really wants to wash wide right there. Keep it in 4th even though it's
Car on your
really down the RPM.
Clear on the left.
Alright, everybody's taking it pretty easy. Well, I say that as he's getting totally sideways in front of me. Boy, it's been a long time since I've had to shift my own gears too. You get pretty lazy with the sequential life. Nobody behind us. That got tighter than I had hoped. I skip shifted there, went down to 2nd to really engine brake it. when you step into these slower cars, it's weird. It's deceiving because it makes you feel like a superhero. It makes you do really stupid things. Yeah, sometimes I just let it eat the limiter there. Sometimes you shift to fourth. Depends on what kind of run you get out of there. My assumption is some of these cars ahead of me are going to be slower than we are, so it might take a few laps to sort this out. This is a very tough section. Hey, Cone. Alright, we got a good run onto the straightaway here. We should be able to clear him by
Car on your left.
the end of the straightaway here, which would be ideal.
Hold your line. We have a car stopped on the
Got
right.
a car on the right. He's gone.
Clear on the left.
We are clear. Let's get back to the left so we get a nice entry.
You didn't even give me a chance to clear the track.
You gotta just shift at the first possible moment there to downshift to get the back to rotate into the turn.
2 minutes 57.
We ended up fourth. No, we ended up third. Okay, everything's
20.
everything's fine. I don't cook it into one. I did a little bit. We'll take the off track. It's so weird there that the nose takes off, but the car feels so slow. It's not very talkative in the front end. This is one of the oldest build cars in iRacing, and I wonder if maybe it's not, a little bit lacking in physics updates and whatnot, tire model updates. They're usually pretty good about keeping stuff implemented that way. But yeah, it's very numb in the front end. I actually cranked up the force feedback quite a bit, trying to get some feeling from it. And there we can draw our first parallel between this car and mine, which, if you're wondering why I'm saying that, I own a 2007 Solstice GXP, is my daily driver. And the steering, it is one of the last GM cars to have hydraulic power steering. And the steering is very heavy, and it's also very talkative. It's one of my favorite parts of the car. Not necessarily something I've picked up on here, but that's super difficult to replicate. Now this being, you really don't like that cone, do you? This being the NA version, but it is slightly trackified. It's somewhat difficult to compare the handling. I do believe this car, like I said, is on a very good race tire, versus my car is on the original Goodyear Eagles, which are, I mean, they were a decent tire in the day, but they're aged now. And hi, Mustang.
Got one on your right. Clear on the right.
Boy, that's a little spooky when they come up on you. I didn't think the speed gap was quite that high. That will be interesting later in the race, because I took a peek at the previous race results, and yeah, you do definitely get lapped in this car.
2 minutes 37.5.
So that'll be fun. And by fun, I mean terrifying. Let's try and keep it to the inside here. As slow as that feels, it's the preferred way to get through there. Alright, we got another Mustang up on us. Hopefully he'll be passing us on the straightaway coming up. Alright, well, I'll just keep to my side.
Car on your left.
There we
Clear
go.
on the left.
All hunky-dory. Hey, can I pick up some draft? Nope, you're already gone.
2 minutes 36.
236. 236s are okay, I think, for race pace. This guy ahead of me is getting away a little bit. It skips across the bumps there. I mean, every car does that here at Sebring. Just not getting out of there quite as good as I need to. Also, charging into the turns much harder than I need to. With a race this long, it will be interesting to see if this, you know, groups back together. I did very minimal practice, maybe 10 laps, and then went out and did a qualifying lap. So there's the possibility I could get quicker as this goes on. But the same goes for those ahead of me. Although he appeared to have made a little mistake there. So this engine is kind of flat. It doesn't have a peak power point. It's just kind of even across the board, which is actually a little bit Miata-like, but it's even more so. Like, the Miata has a bit of top end. It seems like it picks up a little in the 1,000 RPM right before the red line. This one's pretty much the same everywhere. And when I was shopping for a car, could have saved myself, you know, $3,000 or so getting an NA version, but I test drove a couple and I just couldn't convince myself to do it. It's still a great car. It's just not as fun of a car. You have to push it to its absolute max to have fun with it. And sometimes it's just not fun to have to do that every day to try and have a little smile on your face. But on the track here, I mean, it'd probably be a really good, you know, go buy it and then take it to autocross car or entry-level track car. Come on, make the apex. Nope. Pushing wide again. I am definitely overcharging the entries to pretty much every turn right now. So let's switch gears a bit into how to drive this car at Sebring.
2 minutes 37.354.
So let's lift on entry, try and get the back to rotate a little. Didn't really get it too much. A little bit in the mid-turn. Then as soon as you feel it kind of get light, you mat back into the gas. Hit 2 cones, down to third. Rely heavily on the brakes. Got awesome brakes and great ABS. Coast it, coast it, coast it. Get a little bit of that inside curb. Then get back to the gas. Let it wind all the way out. The clutch slip a little bit if you can, because, you know, no power there, so if you can let the clutch slip a little, it helps with those gear changes. And get as much curb on the inside as possible. And again, back to the gas just as soon as you can. Yeah, really. Another thing of this car is that the gears are very long, so when you go to fourth, you feel it. It's a pretty major transition. I was previously going to second on the entry of that corner, and I think that I probably should, just to better gate my speed. This guy ahead of me is driving particularly sloppy, which is good for us. Speaking of sloppy, how about some sloppy shifting? Down to third at the second cone. Really rev it high. You want to get as close to the cone on the inside as possible. You can see he's been knocking it down every lap. Again, close to that cone as possible. Let it rev out, let it slip a little. It sounds like terrible shifting, but it really does help. Your crew's not going to love you for the damage you've done to the clutch, but they'll be happier when you're winning the race. Again, struggling with the understeer through that turn. Need to be braking earlier. A little bit of trail braking would probably help. It's probably the only part of the track that he's really
2
gapping me.
36.979.
He's a little late to the brakes right there. See, you waste so much time shifting that it doesn't even make it worth it. Just realized there's a Mustang behind me. This was a bad place to screw this up. Alright, you'll be fine. Little curb, little dirt. I'll stay to the right.
You got one on your left.
There we go.
All clear, all clear.
Hard on the brakes. Boy, I remember that Mustang. That thing is a very interesting car to drive because it has downforce and it has a decent amount of power, but it seems to have really narrow tires for the chassis, so it makes the front and rear real darty. This car is definitely very good with curbs, and another comparison I can draw to real world Solstice driving. These cars have front double wishbone and rear multi-link, which is actually a setup I have never had a car with that previously. I've always had McPherson strut cars, and many of them have actually been lowered on McPherson strut. And a lot of times with those cars, the thing that I struggle with, well, not really struggle with, but I notice with their handling, is that bumps mid-turn really freak them out. Like it's really jarring because of the way the suspension geometry makes it gain or lose camber a lot versus how much of the wheel is like pressed up into the car. So when you're going over like undulating bumps mid-turn in a strut car, it's almost like moving the wheel around with you and moving the car around with it, since the camber's changing all the time. And I don't know the engineering of it. I'm sure somebody out there does. But the double wishbone car, the Solstice, does that far better. Like bumps mid-turn, you know, besides the suspension travel, like, you know, going up and down, you don't really even notice it. Well, we are really lockstep with the guy behind us now. Ooh, that was a little early for the downshift. It worked out. These guys are having fun. Seems like a pretty fun group.
2 minutes,
Holy
36,
crap, we are already getting caught by the leaders.
8.
That is a huge speed differential.
That sounds dirty.
I guess this is what it's like to be in a jump car race. Because those cars have huge speed differentials too. Alright, well, let's focus on that for a minute. Best thing you can do in a situation like this is just keep your line, but keep somewhat courteous to where they're going to be. So yeah, he'll be able to pass to the left here, keep him on his line,
Car on your left.
and
Clear
clear
on
me
the left.
way before my braking point. So that worked out just fine and dandy. You can see the apex speed between these two cars is like identical. It's everything else that's completely different. Yeah, I would say if I had to pinpoint one thing that is disappointing in the iRacing representation of the car, it's definitely the steering. It just doesn't give me any of the same feeling And I would think that with a stickier tire like this car has on it, it should be even more responsive and more kind of talkative. Yeah, I took a little break there just to kind of catch my breath, and since this race is so long and I have plenty of time and probably not a whole lot of action, I figured change the format up a little bit here. But one of the other things that... Well, let's just go over the Solstice a little bit more overall if you don't know very much about it. So, wow, why did I go to second there? That was silly. So most people think of it as the car that was supposed to be like General Motors' answer to... Let's give him left here. To the Miata.
All clear, all clear.
Which is fair. It is exactly in the same category of car. Wow, I lost a lot of time giving him position there. But, they definitely do what they do in very different ways, and I think I'm pretty qualified now to make that call. And I don't want to step on too much territory because I do want to do the Solstice review at some point, but, the Solstice approach to it is much more, I think, sports car than is the Miata. It drives to me, and I have limited time in a Corvette, but it drives to me like a miniature Corvette instead of a, you know, a Miata, which drives kind of more... It drives like a Miata. They have their own unique way of handling. It's very soft, there's lots of body roll, it's very intuitive, they're super easy to just jump in and instantly feel comfortable with. Wow, that whole turn to the back end was like moving around on me.
I'll take the left side, thank you.
And then once you jump into a Solstice, everything's much tighter, everything's much stiffer, it doesn't roll nearly as much, but it provides, I think, a little bit more feedback to the driver. You gonna catch me? I was hoping you would. Yeah, you are.
Car on your left. Clear on the left.
Are we inside?
I could not give these guys any more room. Hopefully that does not bite me. So the steering is tighter, the brakes are tighter, the transmission is tighter, clutch is more aggressive. Everything is definitely not as driver friendly as is the Miata. That's pretty much as far as I want to go into that, because yeah, I want to save a lot of that stuff for the eventual perpetually delayed Solstice review video. So it's a little bit hard to draw comparisons between this one and mine because they're different models, but overall, it kind of gives me the same feeling. It feels very tight, very direct. You point it in a direction, it goes that way. It doesn't do as much of the wobble around thing as a Miata does, like off of the body roll and such. Okay, this should be a great spot to let him go.
Car on your right. All clear, all clear.
Not the best spot to miss a shift because I am really getting closed in on by the fourth place driver.
Got one on your right. Still there? Hold
He's
your
still
line.
there.
Clear on the right.
Okay. Clear. Everything is hunky-dory. We snuck like a little second of draft there. Alright, we got ourselves a little bit of clear track with the faster cars behind us, but the fourth place guy is like here now. So I'm going to focus on driving for a minute here. See if we can't make this gap increase again, because there's one more subject I'd like to cover during the course of this.
I'll take the left.
This is a very impromptu kind of thing that I'm doing here. I really should have had some notes on points I wanted to make and stuff like that. It's very hard to split your brain into driving and talking. I hope people realize that. I don't think there's very many racing Let's Players out there that actually try to talk about, like, just non-in-the-moment topics while doing the racing Let's Plays. Oh, there's another off track. I was trying to keep it pretty clean so I can get some safety rating. But a gap would be nice too, because if he gets within a second, we're going to be screwed with the draft. Way hot, so we'll trail break it in a little. We'll get out of here in a hurry. Very nice. Hopefully he's getting to the point now where he's close enough that the pressure is on.
2 minutes 36.
Yeah, that was a good lap.
863.
Getting back in the groove. Still screwing up turn 1 a lot. I did not have this many issues in practice there. Everywhere else feels pretty good. Pretty much the same as always, so it's gotta be me. Not sure if something happened with the car ahead of us, but that gap is decreasing. Or it did decrease quite a bit. Get that little bit of dirt. The gap behind us is still much closer than I would like it to be. We don't have too terribly much time left. I think these cars are running 16 laps. Alright, we got one off to the left here.
Go right.
It's actually the second place car.
One on your left.
This just got very interesting.
Got about
So-
5 laps.
Nuts to talking about anything else. This is a race now. Nope, they're wrecking behind us. Yeah. I don't know what just happened there. Looked like maybe the car behind him dive bombed it in there. This is all good news for me. Oh, that was too much. Yep.
If
Son
you
of
come
a
forward,
gun.
you'll have to slow down and give up the time gained.
We'll give up the time as gingerly as possible. Okay, the 1.1. Okay, good. We got rid of our penalty, but didn't lose all of our time, though I just totally screwed up this turn. My body was not prepared to have a race.
That car is a lap down.
I really thought I would just sit here in the track with nobody around me. That has not happened. Okay, I mean, you are a lap down to me. I realize we're running similar speeds. But I think I would have pulled over. Or not, you know, whatever. Just goes super slow in front of me. That's a legitimate strategy. Oh yeah, and then chop me off. That's great. Yep, that's totally appropriate lap car behavior. I know you're getting flashed a blue flag too. See, if this were any other racing sim, the temptation to spin this guy out would be unbearable. But here, I know that's not appropriate, and that's not what we do. It's not worth the risk. though the anger inside of me is building quite substantially. Just because your race didn't end up very well, and you're looking for somebody to compete with, doesn't mean you try to race the leaders.
Well, I got .7 left. Hey, thanks, bud. I didn't mean to get too close to you there on that side.
Alright. Here's an opportunity.
Got one on your left.
The slowest drag race of all time.
Keep right there. Stay right.
Alright, he
All
did at
clear,
least
all
give
clear.
down into the turn. Oh, but then he raced the guy behind me. Oh, you, sir, are a big old bag of jerk. Alright, who do we got behind us? I'm getting blue flags. There must be somebody fast. Yeah, Mustang's coming up.
2. Got one on your left. Clear on the left.
Come on, Mustang. You can do this. I believe in you. Let's focus on hitting our marks. Run it wide. Get down to the curb. Back to the gas. Try and use a little bit of the draft. Not gonna get much. I mean, it did help, but we didn't get it for very long.
White flag.
White flag.
Got a slow car on.
Don't do this, Mustang. Don't do this, Jimmy. Okay, so the leader of the Mustang just got white flags. This is my second to last lap. Okay.
White flag, everybody. White flag.
Everything's under control. Cooked that turn. That must just be some kind of visual glitch I'm seeing, or visual something in the windshield maybe. Makes me think there's smoke into this turn every time. Cooked it. Way overcooked it. Decently recovered, but he made up a crap load of time there.
2 minutes 37.009.
Alright, easy into one. Let's get back to the gas nice and soon. Yeah. That was the right move there. Okay, down to third here. Off the curb. Get the inside one. Perfect. Something about Sebring, I have to talk myself around it a lot more than other tracks. I think it's the lack of visuals. It's just not a very naturally flowing track. Good. Having a great lap, and this is the best time to be doing it. Although he's having a pretty good lap himself. We'll do third here. Still should probably be going down to second there. Hopefully that was not the mistake that cost me the race.
Got about 2 laps left on fuel.
I don't think that was worth telling me, but thanks for the distraction.
Good run, Mike.
It's a pretty difficult place to pass, so I don't know that he's going to get there.
Oh, shit.
Nice, that was perfect through there. Just getting it back to rotate off of the engine decel.
Clean off your deck.
Good run.
Shoot the animal with your deck.
Come on, car. Rocket in my seat. Alright. Don't blow it into here. Just nice and easy.
The microphone is literally just the power button.
There we go. Perfect. Perfectly done. That should keep our gap nice. And we will come home with a second place finish here in Sebring in a Solstice for one time only.
Checker flag this time by.
In here, so it was probably a pretty
We'll get them next time.
So as you fully upgrade your car, it becomes easier, which I am okay with. Starting to get a hang of it now. My overall controller racing experience is extremely limited. The most I ever did controller-based racing was probably... Whoa, Nelly. Okay.